Stuff done. Did you have any questions from Twitter?
Well,
Anybody
yes,
looking?
we did. We did get some questions from Twitter, and as a matter of fact, I even just got some text, some questions
Oh,
texted to
nice.
me. Let me go ahead and open this. This first one says, uh, "Can Frank let you talk more on the show?" That scratch. That's from my mother. Scratch that. But yeah, forget that question. Let me go to this
Swagger,
other
calm
question.
down.
Yes. Let's see this other. When when are you going to pay me back my $10? Oh no, let's forget that question. Forget that.
Man.
But no, seriously, we did, and just like you met me on Twitter, I answered a question somebody sent out about name 4 facts about yourself that
Oh.
nobody else would know, or it was some one of those kind of questions, and I
Mhm.
answered them, and one of the answers I gave was that while vacationing in San Francisco, I was chased by the Zodiac Killer. I
Wow.
had no idea that it was going to get a response, and people were like wanting to hear this story and what it was. But the story's long. I'm like, I'm not going to go be on Twitter and typing response after response after response. So I was like, ask us to talk about it on the show, and we will. And they asked for it, so if you want to hear the story, I'm more than willing to tell it.
Here we go. Settle in, grab some popcorn. It's time for this story.
Well, back in 2017, we planned our family vacation and we decided we're going to go to LA and San Francisco. And when I say we, that's me and my wife and our kids, which is 6 people, my sister, her husband, and her daughter, which is another 3 people, and my mother, and also a nephew of ours. So it's 10 people going on this trip together. And what we all do is we rent a big van, we load it up, and we take off.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
cross country. Yeah, we drive. Me and my brother in law, we share the driving back and forth, and that's how we go on these big vacations. Well, prior to these vacations, what I like to do, I like to read a book, trying to get the feel of where I'm going, know a little bit about the history. I did that. We go to Mount Rushmore, Pikes Peak, wherever we're gonna go. I try to do something to get more involved, get excited about where I'm going. And it just so happened I was at the gym one day and I'm listening to a podcast, and it's one of those podcasts that they talk about strange things. And they had an author on. He had written a book in which he detailed his search for his real parents. He was adopted. In the process of finding out who his real parents were, he comes to the belief that his father, his real father, was the Zodiac Killer.
You're not talking about Ted Cruz, are you?
No,
Just kidding.
no,
Okay,
but
keep it.
he offers all types of advice, evidence, trying to prove that his father was indeed the Zodiac Killer, and it's fascinating. His whole story is fascinating. The evidence he gives is fascinating. When you're done with the book, you're like, man, that guy's dad was the Zodiac Killer. So this is what I read. I'm reading it and I finished it on the way while I'm not driving. I'm finishing the book on the drive up there. So as we're pulling into San Francisco, have you ever been to San Francisco?
No, man, never
So
been.
they'll tell you it's foggy. That's what I heard. It's foggy when you go to San Francisco. That did not prepare me for the fog that I saw. It's like the clouds had descended from the sky
My
and were
goodness.
rolling over the city. I mean, it's to say it's like a cloud bank just moving over. So it's foggy and it's cold. This is June or July we went. It was cold. You have to wear a sweater at night or you're
Oh,
going to
wow.
freeze.
Dang.
So one of the other big things that I like to do when I go on vacation is where we're going to go. I like to go work out. I like to find a gym. And, like at Mount Rushmore, if I was going to do cardio, so I wanted to run and have, the presidents looking down at me, I'll get a nice selfie that, hey, I'm running here out by Mount Rushmore.
Mm.
I like to go early, find a gym because I like to, I guess, kind of like feel like I'm communing, with
Mhm.
the people there. And
Mhm.
it lets you know there's other people in other parts of the world doing what you do. You're
For
not just this
sure.
lonely soul out there. So my first morning there, I decided, hey, look, I'm going to go run on the Golden Gate Bridge. I mean, this is one of the things I'm from the whole vacation, not Universal Studios, not seeing the Hollywood sign. My big deal is I want to go do cardio on the Golden Gate Bridge. So I get up and I get up probably 4 o'clock in the morning because when I go do these things, I don't like to take time from my family. That's their vacation. I don't want them waiting around on me to go do what I want to do. So I go early. I get up. Of course, it's still dark outside. It's cold. Like I said, you have to wear a sweater. So I wore my big hoodie. It's dark. It's my Department hoodie. I pull over there and I'm going in the van. I pull up, and on the south side of the bridge, there's like a little visitor center. So I pull in, go down to the parking lot. There's nobody I can see there. It's like deserted, but it's super duper foggy. It's really foggy. So I'm kind of scared if I park right here by the entrance, somebody's going to pull in. It's so foggy, they're not going to see the van and they're going to smash into it. So that's like our biggest fears. We're always scared we're going to wreck the van. So I go and I say, man, I better go pull over here in the back corner. So I go and pull, and it's kind of like a wooded area, but I pull back there because I know nobody's going to hit this van. I parked. I get out. It's cold. I'm feeling good. I'm kind of excited. I close the van. I start walking towards the bridge. And the parking lot's good little size. But like I said, it's so foggy. I start getting kind of nervous, right? It's kind of eerie. I'm thinking about the Zodiac Killer. I just read about. He probably killed people in conditions like this. So I'm kind of walking. I'm just trying to look cool or whatever. And I'm walking, and I can hear my footsteps on the ground, and it's kind of like a gravelly ground. And as I'm walking, I suddenly become keenly aware I can hear another set of footsteps.
Oh.
Yeah, man. So I'm like, what is that sound? Of course, I convinced myself it's just me thinking that. But I stopped walking, and I could still hear the footsteps. Oh. But it's so foggy, I can't see anybody. And I can't tell where the sound is coming from. So I'm kind of, I'm trying to be, calm. I'm a fireman. I've been in, scary situations. Nothing scares me, right? So I start walking again. And I still hear those footsteps. So I'm getting a little bit more nervous. And it's that feeling, when you were a kid and you were in the dark and you feel like something's about to touch you, So I'm like, man, so I start walking a little bit faster. The footsteps start moving faster. And so I'm really starting to trip out. So I'm like, man, around, I still have a good ways to go. So I start kind of jogging a little bit. The footsteps picked up the pace.
Oh.
And as I'm jogging, I'm starting to really get nervous. My heart rate's starting to really speed up. I'm starting to feel all that anxiety. Those footsteps start running, really running, man.
Oh my goodness.
Man, screw this, man. I'll take off running. I'm running. I got to get to the main street, where there's cars, and that way, if somebody stabs me, somebody can save me. See me, help me, do something. I'll start running, man. I'm running full blast, and I can hear the footsteps. I'm gaining. All of a sudden, I realize the footsteps are ahead of me, and I looked up, and I can see it's a woman, and I can see, it's a woman, and I can see her ponytail bobbing, up and down as she's running, as she looks back, and she's looking back, and I can just see this terror in her face, and I'm like, oh my God, there's somebody behind me. This woman sees the killer behind me, so I'm running and running, man. Goodness. I'm just take off, man. I'm catching up to this woman. As she's running and running and running, she turns around again as she's getting near the main street. We locked eyes on each other, and I've got this look of terror on my face, and she looks at me dead in the eyes, and I realize she's running from me. Ah! Yes, and I started feeling she sees me pull up in this big white van. I get out in this dark hoodie. I start running, and she's there she thought by herself, and I'm running. She's running. She hits the main road, and when you get there, you either turn right towards the Golden Gate Bridge, or you can turn left, going towards the main city. And she got up there, and I don't know what to do. I don't know whether to stop running, but I'm still scared. I'm not going to stop. Maybe there is something behind me. She hits the main road. She takes a left away from the Golden Gate Bridge. I get up to the top where she had just been. I take a right, but I'm worried. I'm like, I feel bad, that I scared this woman so bad. And the only thing I could think to do is I just yelled out, I'm scared too. I'm running. And I started running towards the bridge. Oh, but I'm worried, this woman's going to flag down a cop. She's going to say, hey, this guy was chasing me through the parking lot. So I just kept running. I ran all the way across the Golden Gate Bridge. And it's probably about a half a mile in length. So I ran down there. I ran back. I didn't want to stop, and I was thinking the whole time, this is like a big tourist attraction, right? There's going to be a lot of people on the Golden Gate Bridge running in the morning, right? Because I was worried I wasn't even going to be able to run. I was going to be so crowded. I'm the only guy. I'm the only person out there.
Oh
The
man.
only other person was this guy like on this cart that was like a security guy. So I'm just running, I'm just hauling and I'm afraid I'm gonna turn around because she done flagged down a cop, to come get me because I chased her across the parking lot and I just stayed out there and I just keep running back and forth. Man, I might have ran about 20 miles that day
Oh
just because I
my
was too
goodness.
scared to go back. And finally,
Oh
the sun
man.
comes out, and the fog starts to dissipate, but still I'm like, man, I bet she called the police and they're waiting there by the van. So I would go and I would
Uh,
stand there at the end of the bridge and try to like nonchalantly like look towards the van without being too obvious, because I don't want the cops there to see, oh, there he is. So I just like waited and waited. And finally I'm like, I've got to get back home. I got to get back to the house. Because we rent a house. I'm like,
uh-huh.
man, I got to get back to the house. Everybody's probably waiting on me. I'm like, so finally I just like, do 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 do. I started walking back, trying to be all inconspicuous, and I walked towards the van. I just know these cops are gonna jump out. They're waiting in the woods to get me. Nobody got me. I got in the van. I start driving back, but still, I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid the cops are gonna come get me, and how am I gonna explain this to my mother, right? Like, this, what my mother gonna do when she sees me arrested in San Francisco? And I made it all the way back to the house. I went in. I took a shower. I'm so glad nothing happened. I didn't get in trouble. No drama. I ate, and of course, I asked, hey, so what are we gonna do this morning? Of course, what do you think they wanted to do?
Go walk on the Golden Gate
They
Bridge.
wanted to go to the Golden
Oh my
Gate
goodness.
Bridge. So there we went, and I'll post the pictures. That I have pictures from that morning when I ran in the fog, and then just a couple of hours later, the difference is incredible. It went from super foggy, cold, miserable to the most beautiful day. I mean, picture perfect, sky. There's boats going under the bridge, people running. Now everybody's running, and it was just a great time. But yeah, that was the story about the Zodiac Killer chasing me, and as it is so often, right? The thing we're so scared of ends up being us.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Oh
Yep.
my goodness.
But yeah, that was the Zodiac Killer.
Wow. Did you bring back any souvenirs?
From the Golden Gate Bridge.
Uh-huh.
My wife's big deal is she buys magnets everywhere we go, and like so our refrigerator is just like covered in magnets. But that's about it. And of course, my big deal is I like to get a nice, cool picture. And at some point in my room, I got to make some room on the walls. I'm gonna have pictures of everywhere where I went running, and
Okay.
and post those pictures. Like have a spot, on the wall in my game room of different, Golden Gate Bridge, Mount Rushmore, Pikes Peak, and just those are the memories are what I like to bring back, because I think I bought a shirt somewhere or whatever, but how I do. I cut the sleeves off so they
I
don't
was
last
about to
that much.
say, man.
So they don't last too long. So, but the pictures, they're in the computer and you got those forever.
Yeah, man, that's really cool. I thought you were gonna say somebody put like chloroform over your mouth or something
Yeah,
and like
I was expecting that any second, man. I was like, man, my mom, because, my mom always warned me something's going to happen to you one of these days and we're not going to know what happened. And I was like, this is it. This is it. As I was running across that parking lot, this is it. My mom was right.
Oh man, poor lady. She's probably scared out of her
Oh,
mind.
she's on a podcast and we're telling the story about the
So
Zodiac Killer
one
chased her.
time I got up early to go running. Some maniac. Oh man. And your depiction of the little pebbles, the way they sound whenever you
Oh,
run.
yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I could hear it.
I have nightmares hearing that sound sometimes.
Sheesh, man. Golly. Golly.
I've had some pretty funny stories when I've gone to go do cardio on vacations. I got chased by an elk or a deer or something. I don't know what it was. It was gigantic. I ran 40 miles an hour one time.
What?
Yes. But
Dude,
those are stories for
pumping
another
You're
time.
pumping it across the beach like Sylvester Stallone.
That's a story for another time. But yes, of course, my stories always have a twist. So when I tell you 40 miles an hour, you got to take that with a grain of salt.